or something
I'll
like
do
that.
something else. I'll play
Okay,
with your
cool.
jacket. I'll play with your, like...
No, don't be messing with my pockets,
I
please.
have to play with something.
Okay.
I'm playing with you.
Play with yourself.
No, I'm not going to play with myself. I don't do
Okay.
that.
Yeah, you're already, everything that you guys are talking about is already on camera. So just
It is? Okay. All right. What's happening, everybody?
Hey, wait, it's Gregarious Joy.
What's happening?
Hi, hey,
Joy.
everybody. Hey, Gregarious.
How's everybody out there? Good weekend.
Morning.
We took some vacation time.
Yeah,
How was
we had
time away?
We had the rerun. We had our Who Takes Care of the Caretaker.
Yes.
But apparently 11,000 people watched us something while we were gone, so that's nice.
Well, maybe that says something. Maybe,
It was cool. It was a good one to show as a rerun, apparently,
yeah.
so that was nice.
Maybe people can do without us and just listen to our past speeches. I don't know.
Well, we'll always be able to show those, and they're archived, so you can always see our old shows anytime you'd like.
Okay. Well, as we start off every show with an affirmation
With Greg's.
or the inspirational message of the day. And today, the message that I'd like to share is, God is the source of my supply. If you would repeat that with me. God is the source of my supply. Not man.
Amen.
Yes, not man. You said amen, but not man.
Amen.
You know, man does create, opportunities.
A woman.
A woman. Okay, I can go with that too.
You're my hero. I'm his shiro.
Okay, all right. I see she's full of puns today. I like it.
You taught me that one.
Okay, all right. We have a job that's through man, sure, but God supplies that opportunity for us. We have a house and a home. Yes, that's through the bank. That's through the man, but God supplies the avenues for us to make that mortgage work. Okay? The difference between a lucky man and an unlucky man, I'll never know. But I do know that those who are lucky, who are blessed to get these opportunities, typically and genuinely are grounded and centered in something. And I ask you today, are you grounded in something? What is your truth? Do you wake up in the morning and just
I love
jump?
that. What is your truth?
Right,
What is your philosophy?
right.
I realized I've to be talking about a course that I'm in.
Sure, you can cut me off. It's okay.
I apologize. A
No.
happiness
Go ahead.
course, and one of the questions was, "What do you have a philosophy for life?"
Right.
And I actually realized I don't right now. I used to when I was younger. I had a few over the years, but right now I don't have a.
I'm really surprised to hear you say that. I always thought you were pretty organized and.
Well, nothing comes to mind. So maybe, I have to refresh my memory of what my philosophy is and be able to speak it and think about it all the time. And
Okay.
just have something in my mind.
All right. Well, I'm kind of getting ahead of myself here for a second. Mary Ann Williamson, the young lady who is running candidate for President of the United States, spoke at our spiritual center on Sunday. And that was one of the things that she said.
It was beautiful.
We're living in an angry world right now, where people are angry, where our leaders are generating that message to the public. And she said, we get up out of bed in the morning, we don't get grounded, we don't say our prayers, we don't have a meditation, and then we go out into this world with really no foundation, no game plan, and we try to fight our way through it instead of letting God fight for us. When God is the source of my supply, I can let go of all of the issues, the concerns that I have of the day. And that is, if you really believe that God is the source of your supply, you can let those go. I let go and I let God. Okay, so let's make that our affirmation for today. I let go and I let God.
Sounds
okay?
good.
I would love to hear from you on what it is you do on a daily basis to stay grounded, to stay centered. We would like to share that with others.
Yeah, and some people do it once or twice a day, more than twice a day. And a lot of people do it in their car, in the bathroom, like at home, in a nice spot in your home when you first get up or before you go to bed. Could just be while you're laying in bed. It could be anywhere. But a lot of times you know, when you're sitting in the sun in the morning and it feels so good, that morning sun. I like that. I think that's special. Or taking a walk with my dog in a beautiful nature walk, and that's my meditation. It's part of my meditation.
Well, the good news is there is no right or wrong answer on how you pray and how you meditate. No matter what your organized religion will tell you, there is no right or wrong way. You know, like you mentioned, some people will lay in bed and do it.
It's subjective.
You know, and say their prayers. You know, I call those people pillowcase Presbyterians. You know, that's okay. You can lay in bed and have your prayer, or you can be a bedroom Baptist and do it in your bedroom on Sunday morning or whatever morning you choose. You know, to have a message come into your home.
What about let's name all the religions. What about the Methodists?
I'm not going to go down that.
I was brought up Methodist.
Those are the two.
I want to know all of them.
What is it? No. Anyway.
We got one for every religion, and we will get into that another time on a comedy show.
We do.
When we do comedy night.
Right.
All right.
You know, I used to get up in the morning and meditate before I go to work. And then I got a job that required more of my time. When I was a salesperson, I was in charge of my day and I could set my own appointments. When I became a district and then a regional manager, it was pretty much, you know, planned. I mean, I had to fly out and work with reps and that type of thing. So time really became an issue.
You planned every minute of your life by that time. You were booked.
So, you know, I used to get up at 5, you know, do meditation, 5 to 5:15, sometimes 5:30.
Didn't you run in the mornings too?
And then, you know, take a run or go to the gym. That was the fun part for me, is at 5 o'clock, you know, to get up and get my 2 sons out of bed, and we get to the gym and we work out together, you know, and that was a fun time.
Wonderful bonding time with your kids.
So my minutes were very important to me. So what I ended up doing was doing my meditation in the car. And, you know, sometimes people say, that's not good. You can't close your eyes and meditate in the car because you have to stay focused. But I either had no music on or I had guided music, like meditation music that was very soothing and very calming.
The massage music.
And as I'm driving down the freeway, I'm saying my prayers. I'm thanking God for His goodness. And I'm looking at the billboard signs that look so appropriate for what's going on at the appropriate time.
So it just Spirit led you.
Spirit led.
Stuff happened and you saw, wow, that's what I'm supposed to learn today? Okay, thank you, Lord.
Yeah,
Wow.
I remember I was in Denver, and I had an appointment with the rep. It was a successful call, but I had to get back to California to pick up my kid from school. So I jumped in the car, I looked at my watch, and it was like, oh my God, I am in the nick of time to get to the airport. It's like you
That's
gotta
scary.
have
Your
2 hours.
blood pressure goes up, you
to
start
get there.
to sweat.
And
You're driving assertively, you know, like crazy.
and I'm trying to figure out the roads, and we didn't have the best Google Maps in 1999.
Did they
So
call it at the state of an emergency?
yeah, so I'm in the car. She told me the directions. I wrote them down, and I'm very, very, very anxious. You know, I'm trying to get there. And I just silenced my chatter, and I said, God, you are the source of my supply. You are in charge. I let go. I let God. And this big bus comes to the left of me,
Oh my gosh.
and it says, we'll get you to the airport in 30 minutes. And normally,
You wouldn't even notice it,
I
right?
wouldn't even notice that.
But my God, right
So
there.
I'm saying, okay, God, are you sending me a message? Do you know I followed that bus? That bus took me all the way to the terminal. And I was
It
able
plowed its way through, right?
Right.
And
I was able to
Leave
relax.
its own lane, and you
Yeah.
just...
It didn't say what airport. It could have been taking me to Davenport or somewhere. But I trusted Spirit in that moment that it took me to the Denver airport. So little small things like that occur in the course of the day. When we are mindful and we take the time to recognize Spirit and allow God to do work in our lives, working through us as us.
Sounds beautiful. Yeah, well, Spirit leading us and meditating, you know, in the mornings. My walk actually, I never thought you could walk as a meditation.
Oh, absolutely.
But my minister, Reverend Chad Groverland, hello.
What's up,
He's in
Chad?
Colorado.
Okay.
Missed seeing you here when you were in town the other day, but sorry, I'll have to catch up with you some other time. I am going to Colorado sometime in the near future, and I may just go to your church, plan a big old trip
Okay.
for that. But anyway, he told me one time about, he always said, every time he'd see us, the only thing he'd pretty much always say is meditate. That is what he always said to everybody. I mean, I don't know about everybody. To me, the first time he saw me, and, you know, that was his message. Pretty much every single thing that came out of his mouth was always first, meditate.
Okay.
And he said, I said something like, I have a hard time meditating because of, you know, reasons. And then he said, I said, is there such a thing as a walking meditation? And he says, yes, there is. Yes, there is.
People take nature walks.
There is, and actually, I realized I go to Desert Breeze. I know people who live in Las Vegas. We know Desert Breeze is a great big park with lots of soccer fields and football fields, basketball, you name it. Everything's there. Water slide, and I noticed if I took I had taken my kids to the bus in the morning at 5:30. Every day for 6 years, I took my kids, because they were both in Magnet Middle School and high school.
Mm-hmm.
So we took them to the bus, even though it was only a few block, half a block, it was dark out, you know, so I just take them. And they had heavy books and stuff. But anyway, after that, I was already up. It was already 6 o'clock, and I had, you know, I was already fully awake once I'd given them the ride. So I started going to Desert Breeze for those 6 years, and I would take the dog and start walking. And when I was on the big football field where there's just grass for a long way, I would just close my eyes halfway and walk, and it's almost like with your eyes shut, you know, but, you know, a little open, but I was just walking, and that was a really great way to meditate, was in a zombie, you know, kind of in a place where there's nothing going to be in front of you for a long time, and you can just know it's flat, and just walk, and that was a beautiful, I love the walking. I think it's, I'm one of those people who likes to move around a lot, and it's good for me. I learn better when I'm standing, you know, or bouncing on a ball or weird things, but they've found people like me are really better off learning like that. So the meditating walking was fabulous.
Yeah, I know people who take nature walks. On Sunday, we'll go to, when I lived in San Francisco, a place like Muir Woods, where there are big trees that are over 100 years old that are just...
And Golden Gate Park, right?
Golden Gate Park.
So beautiful. Out by the avenues, by the
Yes.
Cliff House. And
Yeah, by the Cliff House.
That's where I lived. I lived out there.
Okay,
See, I lived in San Francisco too.
Right, so you can
He
see the
knows.
ocean coming in, leading into the bay.
And it's caught fog in the morning.
Yeah,
It's
and you can see the
cool.
fog coming in.
Really cool.
You know, those type places
I have fond memories of
remind
San
me that
Francisco.
there is a God. There is a God that can create something that beautiful, something that spectacular.
Yeah, when nature is moving or doing something, it is part of the experience too.
Yes.
You know, when the trees are rustling and big, gigantic trees, those manzanita, no, what were they called? Eucalyptus, the giant eucalyptus trees and
I
stuff.
thought they were redwood myself.
Maybe they are.
Okay.
There's both.
Okay.
But, you know, they're by the water, and it's really amazing.
Spectacular.
Yeah.
Just simply spectacular. So let me ask you a question. How are your days when you don't have time for prayer or meditation?
I think that there's stress in the body. I think
Okay.
that, you know, you can get shortness of breath.
Mm-hmm.
You can feel like you're spinning your wheels. Like, what did I do today? I was busy all day, but what did I do?
Yeah.
It's like there's that not that breath where you're breathing in and breathing out. It's like an inhale, and you just stay inhaled all
Yes.
day, actually.
Yes.
That's not fun.
No, it's not.
It's like, you know,
Well, if you have some days where you don't have the time or you don't think you have the time to pray or to meditate, let us know how your days are going. I know that when I don't get that time to meditate, I get a little bit more aggressive.
yeah. I've seen him. Oh my God.
I
Remember
tend,
coming back from San Diego, that trip?
tend to
We had this weird moment, man. I was like, Craig.
tend to her parents were celebrating their 60th
60th
wedding anniversary,
Yeah.
and she invited me to come down for the celebration.
We were there.
Yeah,
Yeah, he had a wild hair one suddenly in the car driving back, and I was like, wow. But I've had bad moments
Yeah.
around you too. I mean, I've had moments where I just suddenly was very angry about something, and it's shocking.
No. It doesn't
know?
necessarily have to be angry, but
Yeah, it's not always angry, but
No,
people
no.
perceive it as angry.
Yeah,
See,
it
that's
could be
the thing.
perceived that
It's
way.
a perception.
by okay.
But in you're like kind of just venting, or you're not necessarily that angry or anything, but it just looks like it.
Okay.
No.
Well, when I become more aggressive, what I'm doing is that's my ego. My ego is taking over as opposed to letting God take over. When I say let go and let God, I have to trust that God is going to supply my needs. So when ego gets involved, and I love that for ego, with edging God out, okay? I can do this on my own.
Edging got out.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I mean, I can do
Good
this on my
acronym,
own.
guys.
Yeah.
Good acronym. I
Yeah,
love that.
I mean, I can do it on my own.
That's the
I really
acronym.
don't need you.
Yeah.
But I'm not saying that, but that's kind of the way that I'm acting,
I'm gonna
because
try
I'm
to
making
remember
my
that.
own
That's a very
decisions.
good acronym. And
know?
ego is not fun. It's like really in the art world. I'm in the garment business and
Yes.
design world. I would say most designers, a lot of them have a pretty big ego, and collaborating with other artists of any kind
Mm-hmm.
who have a very big ego, it's like, how boring. It's the most boring thing to work with somebody with a big ego.
Yes.
It really is. So,
Yes.
I try to remember that when I'm collaborating with others, because, when you get to know each other, then everything's great. But, in the beginning, I don't know. It's not good.
No, I was riding down the freeway, and I'm in my meditative mode, and I'm listening to some music, and I'm probably going 65. No, I wasn't going that slow. I think I was going 70. But anyway, I wasn't going 55.
Go with 70.
Okay, let's go with 70. So this car comes by me, and he's honking a horn, and he flips me the bird.
Oh.
And,
Was there a reason for that?
and instead of being in my anger moment,
Uh-huh.
and we've all been
You
there,
caught yourself?
and we've all had it,
What'd you do?
I said to myself, so that's what I look like when I'm angry.
I love that.
That's what I look like when I'm in a hurry.
That's really great.
You know?
Yeah.
Man.
You know what my mom used to say?
What?
She's good. She could do it sometimes, man. She'd say, oh, somebody cuts her off or something on the freeway, and she'd go, oh, that's the highest form of love that person can get up to today.
The highest form is to cut you off?
No, that must be the highest form of love
For them.
that person could get up to
Oh
today.
my God, I don't know if I want to be around him if that's his highest value.
Yeah,
of
but that's
love.
like pretty transformed that my mom could just say it like that, and that's her reaction to it.
Yeah.
It's to make it right and to be empowered, not diss the person back or whatever. She just said, oh.
Well, I'd like for you to try something. And I did this recently, as recent as this weekend. There's a lot of construction going on in Las Vegas.
Oh, God. Because of the Raiders Stadium, it's
Yeah.
double, tripled up. It's
it
everywhere.
really has. It
It's
has.
not just
It
everywhere.
has.
It's
They're trying to-
everywhere.
Yeah, they're trying to widen the
Beyond
streets and,
belief.
get ready for the 65,000 people that'll be coming over here for the games. So anyway, roads are going from 4 lanes down to 3, down to 2, and then down to 1. So everybody's frustrated because you didn't plan for this.
And you gotta know-
Vegas is not good about putting up signs saying for the next
Yeah.
5 days we will,
Sure.
be doing
And
construction.
Uber and Lyft, they'll guide you the best way without the construction, but sometimes they don't. They
Sometimes
screw
it's
up.
the only
It doesn't
way.
always work.
Sometimes it's the only street that
Yeah.
is available.
It's what they have to do. You have
So the lanes were getting down, and I could see this car kept inching over towards me. So you let the car in front of you go, and then the next person can go, and then So it was my turn.
Mm-hmm.
So I moved up, and he inches up next to me.
oh, snap, he's going to
And
challenge
then he
you.
rolls down his window. I rolled down mine, and he just hurled out insults, called me all kind of names.
Oh, goodness.
Some of those I don't care to repeat.
Were they all in English?
They were pretty nasty, and we have to go
Could
to
have
a
been
break.
some insults
We
in
have
other
to go to a
languages
break.
as well.
We have to go to a break after this one. But try this. Somebody's angry. He's flipping the bird, or
What'd you-
she's
what'd
flipping
you-
the bird.
What'd you say?
I looked at
You
him.
calm that day and
I
stuff?
rolled down the window and I said, "God bless you."
That's a good one.
the dude stopped and he looked at me. You don't have to say anything else. God bless you.
That's funny.
You know, you could say, hey, you seem like you're having a bad day. You know, that just causes another reaction.
No.
You tell
You
me
don't wanna
about
go
my
there,
bad
but
day.
the
That
comment
was
is
just
beautiful.
enough.
Yeah.
It stunned his face.
Did it stop him?
Yeah, he looked at me, and he turned away, and he rolled up his window, and he said, you know, go ahead.
Yes, he got it. He got the message. He got your prayer for him. You know,
Yes.
really, that's beautiful.
And we also say namaste for those who are spiritually minded and understand what that term means. And then after that, we're
Is it
going
a
to go to
hello
break.
and a goodbye? What does that mean?
Namaste is I behold the Christ in you.
Oh, I love that.
Will you behold the Christ in me?
That's a beautiful
It is.
sentiment to
Yes.
greet
So if you ever
people.
get into an argument with someone at work, or you know, even with close friends, family,
Namaste.
you don't have to say it loudly, or just say it to yourself. Namaste.
Namaste.
Because each one of us has the body of Christ within us. You are trying to connect with the body of Christ of the person you're speaking with.
I agree.
So by calling it out, I behold the God in you.
That's
I
beautiful.
behold the Christ in you. I behold the sacred space in you. I'm trying to connect with you on a different level.
I love that.
Okay,
It
on a
reminds me of
spiritual level.
Avatar, too, when they said, I see you.
Yes.
And the couples, was it with everyone or just the loving couples would say that to each
I don't think
other?
I
I
saw
don't they say, I
Avatar.
see you. Oh, God.
Oh.
Where has it been? He watches BET
I don't-
way too much
I don't
because
play.
he needs to watch the regular
I don't
things.
play. I quit
Oh, but
elementary school because they
Avatar?
had recess. I don't play.
Avatar is
With
one
that,
of the best
we have to go
movies
to
of all
break.
time. We will
Okay.
talk about movies later.
All right, we got to go to
Bye.
break.
Listen, check it. Trying to feel a bridge, instead I burned it down. Oh, I tried to lift him up, but found me beaten down to the ground. I was too weak to face my pain, caught up in the flood that was my rain. We both moved on, but my heart remains there. Oh, what
Social media shows
is about
branding, opportunity.
and outreach
We are an entertainment company that empowers others.
by promoting and supporting our community.
and everyone who reaches our content.
here on social media shows.
Here we're a family.
We are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family, and we want you to be part of our social media shows family. Hi, my name is Maria Pureza Leventhal. I am the founder of Social Media Show.
Hi, I'm Latoria Kern, founder and director of Family Arts at Wayla's Creation.
Hi, my name's Dolly Wright, and I'm a singer.
This is Bettina Steinhauer. I also am a clothing designer.
My name is Dolores Olson, and I'm a home-based business person for Zija.
Hi, my name is Jessica D, and I currently work for one of the biggest properties on the Strip.
Hello everybody, I am Kiki Dolas. I am the CEO of Are You It Entertainment here in Las Vegas.
Hi, my name is Dawn Rear. I'm the founder of The Giving Water, a local nonprofit.
Hi, I'm Alicia, aka Catalina Winehouse with Ichigo.
Gregarious Joy back here.
Welcome back.
Happy Monday.
I like welcome in. You know, when I lived in Atlanta, I'm trying to think of the name of it was 7-Eleven.
Who says that?
7-Eleven. As soon as you walk in the store, welcome in, welcome in.
Oh, that's kind of a cool.
Yeah.
That's like the.
And they always yell it out like they're really happy to see you. Welcome in, welcome in.
I never heard that expression before.
And I was like, you know what?
That's from Atlanta.
Yeah.
It's Atlanta. You know,
Yeah,
in
it was-
New Zealand they say "good on you," things like that in New
Yeah.
Zealand. This is cute. That's a good expression.
Yeah.
I like that.
Welcome in, welcome in. I said to her one day, I said, you say welcome in better than any minister of any church that I've been to. I never heard him say welcome in. But, you know, when it's time to give that money.
7-Eleven. Who
Okay.
knew?
No, yeah, I think it was 7-Eleven. Yeah, I think it was 7-Eleven. Anyway, shout out to 7-Eleven. But anyway, as I mentioned earlier, the candidate for president, Mary Ann Williamson, graced our spiritual center on Sunday.
It was so great.
I pulled
It was
into the
a-
parking lot,
I mean,
about 20 minutes early, and I said, it's already packed. What's
Packed.
going on?
They even
I
have
didn't get the
police,
memo
you know.
that she was coming.
Oh, you didn't even know? Oh
No,
my
I did
God.
not know.
Were you excited when you heard it?
Oh, yeah, I was. Yeah, it was a good service. It was a good time. But let's talk about her message.
Yes, it was really great, and I tape recorded. Plus, you can watch it live, guys. It's Spiritual Center for Spiritual Living,
Las Vegas.
Las Vegas, and it was
Yes.
from yesterday's date.
Yes. Doug is our senior minister.
And her talk was beautiful, and the music was gorgeous, and
Music was good.
he was part of the music.
But the music was good anyway. Shout out to our music team there.
Did you get the clips I sent you?
No, I haven't.
I sent you pictures of yourself playing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
And film footage.
Okay.
Anyway,
Let's talk about the
her
message.
talk was amazing, and it got down to some basic things.
Okay. Some of the basic things that really struck me.
Oh, first of all, if someone doesn't know, she's running for president.
President
She's
of the United
extremely-
States.
Very high-profile person at the time.
Yeah,
she wrote the book on miracles, which is huge. It's all across the world.
It is.
It's a beautiful book.
A
It's-
Course in Miracles.
Course in Miracles, and it's
It
not
is phenomenal.
It's not any one religion based.
Yeah.
And Oprah Winfrey paid a lot of money for her to become a candidate for presidency.
Yeah.
And so she's supported by some really great people.
Yeah.
And her, she may not win, but she's really wonderful that she's up there. Honestly, a spiritual person.
A spiritual person.
Is there.
Yes. Yes, we call it New Thought, and I wish that somebody would come up with a little bit more of a unique name because it's not new. It's been around for years.
40s, 30s.
Yeah.
The Center for Spiritual Living comes from Science of Mind is
Yes.
the basic premise from it back, and then a few other religions came out of Science of Mind, right?
By Ernest Holmes.
Ernest Holmes.
Yes.
Fear not.
Yes.
That's his premise of when he
Fear
starts
not,
to speak,
man.
he always says, fear
Ernest
not.
Holmes, powerful, powerful,
Very
powerful.
good. If you ever Google him, you'll love sermons
You
by
will
this
love his work.
gentleman. Oh,
Yeah, it
God.
takes us on a spiritual plane where we recognize we recognize the Christ that's within each one of us. We do it to ourselves. We kind of get segmented into Baptist, Methodist, Catholic,
All the Protestant religions.
but
it's a Protestant
it's all
religion too,
good.
but it is
I
a
mean,
non-denominational
right.
Protestant
It-
religion.
It is a
So it's
non-denominational.
more liberal than most of them.
Wherever you are on your journey of faith, you are welcome within the spiritual movement.
And the Center for Spiritual
always
Living
used to
is
say
by
that.
it's by downtown.
Yeah.
It's in downtown Las Vegas, so it's close to the Strip. If you're ever traveling,
It's close to
you
UNLV.
Yeah, it's
So
really.
students come out too. But let's talk about our
All right.
message.
Yes, her message.
Okay. One of the things that really struck me, and there are about 3 or 4, she said right now the anger in our environment has been empowered by the most powerful man in the United States, and we all know who that president is.
Right.
The anger that's out there, and they're being empowered to do this.
Right.
The dark side.
Right.
You know, shooting someone in El Paso, Texas. I mean, really? You're going to shoot them because they're Hispanic or Mexican? And you post this on your Facebook page?
It's just like hanging people in the South.
I mean, you know,
with
a
the black
lot of us, we
African
say
Americans.
we don't want to
That's
talk politics or we don't want to get involved. We have to get involved.
Yeah.
She quoted Martin Luther King by saying, light is the only thing that can drive out darkness. Light.
Ooh, I like that.
And all of us who are
Ooh, I like
spiritually led, we are the light of the world.
Right.
But this light, we are right now under a bushel. We're not using our light. I mean,
I agree.
just as the dark forces are coming out with all of these negative things, I hate watching the news because it's always something from the
Changed.
dark side.
It's changed.
We
It's
have a
different.
president who
Yeah.
calls people out by names, Sleepy Joe,
Crooked somebody or whatever.
Crooked Hillary.
Yeah, you
We've
know,
never had
they always-
anything like that before.
they
So
always
where is the
pin,
light?
Like name calling.
Where is the
You know,
light?
That's not.
Where are the sources of light in the world? Our politicians who are not standing up to this. I call out Nancy Pelosi. Nancy Pelosi needs to make a move, and she needs to make a move now. The hatred in our world has gotten way out of control, and to tell me to wait 8-9 months to next November? No. We need to raise our windows and say we're mad as hell and we're not going to take this anymore.
Right.
We need to get a movement out in the streets to let them know that light, the love, the spirit of love is heavier, weighs more than the dark side. We need to stop giving them attention. We need to stop giving them praise, and we need to get this man out of office. And she said it. She said, listen, just because you're spiritual does not mean you can't get involved in politics. We need you now more than ever. This outrage has got to stop.
Right. Right. And beautiful. And her premise of the whole talk was about
Values.
Values.
Yes.
Values. Great subject matter. You know, that was our poll question today on the show is, do moral values matter?
Yes.
And do you have moral values is the question.
Yes.
Do we ask ourselves that enough? You know, is our integrity intact? Do we have a high level of integrity? There's people have integrity. The mafia has integrity within amongst themselves, but you know, is it a high level of integrity? Maybe not.
Yeah.
I don't know about that.
Yeah.
There's this guy called, wish I knew his last name. It's Integrity Tonal Scale, actually.
Integrity tonal
If you
scale.
Google Integrity Tonal Scale, his first name's Vern somebody. Beautiful. It talks about all the levels of integrity of a human being, what we would be like if we had the highest type of like leadership, you know, or the highest kind of integrity, like Jesus, you know.
Right.
Or, you know, then we go down to people who will always say they're sorry if they do something wrong. They have that much integrity that they will feel remorse. They will always, you can count on them to apologize, you know. And then you go lower, you know, people who like screw people over and don't care, and those are the lower levels of integrity. That's a state of being. It's a state of living. So integrity tonal scale is very beautiful, I think. In fact, it's leading into my talk tonight, which is going to be about, or today, about relationships. They say, just as a footnote, that if, as far as relationships goes, it's a little off subject, but if you're with somebody, in a relationship with somebody who's more than 2 levels of integrity higher or 2 levels lower than you are, your relationship is not going to work. they say.
Okay.
And
So
I kind
we'll
of
save
believe,
that part.
believe that.
We'll save that part till we
Yeah,
get to
the relationship
relationships.
talk. I'm talking
But I'd
about
like to get back
relationships
to her message
the values.
on values. When you have a government who sells $250 million to Saudi Arabia for arms, weapons, so that they could mass kill, come on, people. Where is our leadership? This Saudi Arabia killed an American journalist, cut him up,
That was gross.
put him into pieces,
Remember that. Woo.
and our leadership did nothing?
Yeah.
Absolutely nothing. An American journalist. People, we have got to stop accepting this.
Yeah.
It's time for the light to shine over darkness.
I love that. Light. Give me light.
Yes.
Give me light. That should be the campaign.
And then she talked about how our government is willing to give tax breaks to the rich and the richest. Okay, so they already have more. They have enough. They have
enough for future generations to come.
probably 90% of the wealth, they control, but yet you give them more.
Yeah,
You
what?
cut their
I
taxes.
don't understand that.
Where
either.
are your values and morals when you have people who are sleeping on the streets,
Right.
veterans who are sleeping on the street,
And
who
people who
served
can't-
our country,
People who can't afford their health care.
but yet you're
You can't-
giving more money to the rich and not funneling that money where it can be helpful to those in need. America, where are your values? She said that so many times. America, where are your values?
Yes.
People, where are your values?
That was beautiful too.
Come on,
it
Congress.
It struck me
It's
when I
time
was,
to get rid of this
when I was listening.
37-year veteran Nancy Pelosi and the whole team of these people who have been around for 30 or 40 years. Get them out of there. I know everybody might not like Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, but I would rather have someone who is fiery, who is constantly pushing the needle.
Pushing the envelope for good.
Pushing the envelope for good,
yes.
for all people.
She is fiery, and she gets me excited. When I watch her, I'm like, wow.
Might not agree with everything she says,
Yeah, but she's
I like her
feisty.
program.
It's the feistiness that's a fire inside her. You can
Absolutely.
see a fire in that belly is what you can see.
Right, we need the fire back. It's time for new. It's time for change. I mean, money rules politics. Right now, they're in the process of reducing it down to like the top 8 for the next presidential election, and there's 2 criteria. The popular vote, which nobody ever calls my house. You can't call it a vote. It's really a survey. Who are these survey people? They never called me.
They
Ask
call
my
me a
opinion.
lot of, no, they call me way too many times. They
Oh, is
call
that
me
right?
a zillion times. Oh, yes, Las Vegas is alive with that.
Oh,
We're good on the polls. We do a lot of marketing and polling.
I've never gotten called one time.
Well, you weren't home. You were out on the road, dude. You were working.
Whatever. And
Your wife
money.
probably click.
And
Your family was
no, I
clicking
don't
it
have a
all the
wife.
time.
Money is the second thing. You have to prove that you have enough money to fund a campaign. So money is involved in politics. And why I like AOC, Alexandria or Cortez, is because she said, I will only accept donations up to $40. So she funded her campaign on little to no money, $40.
That's amazing.
Okay? So when you take money from the ERA, when you take money from Big Pharma, you can't fight them. We pay the highest drugs pharmaceutical rate than anyone in the free world. $1,000 for a vial of insulin?
For
I
enough
mean,
for-
come
for enough
on.
for 1 month.
I mean,
And
this
that's
is
out of-
ridiculous.
That's out of pocket. That's after
And our
insurance
politicians
pays.
do nothing because they get that donation
And by the way,
to be able to fund their campaign so that they can fund these commercials that you see on television, which are not cheap.
yeah, but
Okay?
also, by the way, speaking of
Where are
diabetes,
your
and
values?
insulin is my big hot problem because I have a kid who's diabetic since 5. But insulin is not even expensive to make. That's what irritates me. And they rate 300% increase in the last, 15 years since my kids had diabetes. We noticed this amazing jump,
Right.
300% increase. And it's not even an expensive drug to make.
Right.
That's
And-
wrong.
Yeah.
And it's a life-sustaining, that's a treatable condition. They could live a long and normal life if they have it.
And then you have the NRA. Okay, the NRA, both situations in Dayton and in El Paso. The guy had AK-47 loaded with 100 rounds and had a second 100 round in his bag. 100 rounds? This is military stuff. Why are we selling this to consumers on the street? Where are our values? This could be knocked out with a vote, but we don't do it because we're taking money from these people.
Right.
These politicians need to take the money out of politics.
And your vote matters.
And I don't have anything
matters.
against the NRA. I have nothing against Big Pharma. They do great things to help us all get better. But there is a line, okay? How much is too much? How much is too much money to put in your pocket? How much is too much that you're taking advantage of those who cannot afford the pharmaceutical drugs who are sick?
Right.
How much?
Yeah, it's sad that modern technology has given us
And
so
we all
many
hide
cures,
behind it because
so
we
many
say, oh, we
cures.
can't talk about politics. Somebody needs to stand up and talk about the politics of this.
Yeah.
I'm not against them. Somebody needs to speak truth to power. It's time, folks. We've had enough shootings. I don't want to hear any more. You're in my thoughts and prayers. I mean, I appreciate that. But stop the gun violence.
Sick. If you
I
lost
mean,
your-
come on.
your
Nobody needs
family-
100 rounds with a second 100 round in his bag.
Yeah,
Kill
that's-
200 people.
That's not
They're
even
lucky
a
they
sport.
shot him at 100.
That's not even a sport weapon. I mean, you wouldn't even go out and shoot cans with that because the can would be gone in 2 seconds. It's like silly.
Yeah.
It's like, why did we even need that in the streets?
Well, you know, I
There's
was
no
thinking
reason.
about this last night as we were, putting this talk together, the show. I look at Puerto Rico. Those people went to the streets, and they didn't stop. Day after day after day. They called for their president to step down because he was corrupt.
When did this happen?
This happened like last week.
Okay, this is the
He
current.
stepped down. He stepped down because the power of the people spoke out.
That's beautiful.
When are we going to speak out? We should be in the streets in peace and love, like Martin Luther King used to do, a nonviolent movement,
should have
and
walks
say
every
we
week.
have had enough. It is time for a change.
We should have walks every week. Every weekend, there should be a walk somewhere.
Somewhere.
Where people can go and speak.
Right.
For good.
Right.
And get united.
Right. I'm in my pocket looking for some change
like
just before we go to break.
It's like you need the synergism, and
I don't have any change.
you need the esprit de corps of all the people. We need that synergism. We need to get together.
Right. What I was going to do was just say, hey, look, pull out some change out of my pocket. This is not the change I'm talking about, the quarters, nickels, and dimes. I'm talking about real change. People need to go to the street. Orson Welles' book, Open Up the Window. I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take
that was
this
such
anymore.
a great movie. Oh my gosh.
Don't wait till November. Do it now.
Yeah, I'm mad as hell, and I'm not going to take it.
Can
That's
anybody
great.
pass this on
We
to
should
that
all
youth movement
open-
out of Florida?
we should all
Because I
open
know
our
those
windows
kids
at a
are
certain time.
passionate about gun violence because they lost
man.
classmates.
Yeah.
Let's organize.
There's-
Let's get out in the streets. You
You're
had the
committed.
movement in Washington, D.C., where you guys came out and spoke. Let's make this thing even bigger. Let's include everybody because I believe that there is enough love in America. That love in America outweighs the dark side that we're seeing in the streets today and in our politics. There is enough love in this country to cure all ills.
And it
I believe
takes-
that.
It takes light to get rid of dark.
It takes the light
Yeah.
to get rid of the dark, as Martin Luther King so eloquently stated.
And she said it in
And
her
she
speech,
stated
too.
in her speech. Okay, we have to go to break.
We're going to break.
You got any change?
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll talk to you more about Marianne Williamson another day maybe, but thank you for this segment on the values.
Yeah, the values. The
Okay, of
values,
America.
The values.
Get fired up. We'll see you in a little bit.
All right.
Bye.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on Social Media Shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything you want to be. So let's bring the community together. And let's bring the world to you. Join us now. We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you. Inquire now.
Social media shows
is about
branding, opportunity,
and outreach.
We are an entertainment company that empowers others
by promoting and supporting our community
and everyone who reaches our content.
Here on social media shows,
here we're a family.
We are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up every
We're going to complete the segment on having values.
Yeah, values. And what we're going to do is something light. We're going to talk about your favorite TV heroes as a child. Like what shows you watched.
Or TV shows?
Yeah,
Okay.
and like what shows did you watch as a kid? What were your favorite?
You know, back in the days when we watched TV, we had shows like The Good Times.
Okay.
You know, Florida and, you know, her husband and JJ. And,
yeah, JJ.
Yeah.
He was cool. I always liked him.
I always had a crush on his, you know, sister there. She is fine. Andy Griffin was another, you know. Opie.
Right.
You know, he take him fishing.
Mayberry.
That
was,
RFD.
I always tell people that.
He always take him fishing, and he always had a story to tell him.
Yeah.
You know, he'd say, "Oh, Paul." Yeah, Paul. And he'd always have
nice
something
story.
of value to share with him.
That was a good dad.
And then
He was a good dad.
He was a good dad.
Yeah.
And then come home and Aunt B would be there with the cherry pie and, you know, it was kind of a wholesome family type thing.
I came from Mayberry. Well, Lodi, California. Hello. It's pretty much like Mayberry. So
Mayberry
I know what that's
RFD.
like.
I didn't call it that. She did, so
Yeah.
don't nobody get
but,
on me.
I used to watch Gilligan's Island, and with Brady Bunch and Partridge Family,
Brady
and,
Bunch
and
was
like the Flintstones.
Okay.
I could say a little something about all those. Okay, like the Flintstones. Fred Flintstone was a big goofball, but he would yell at his wife, Wilma. You know, he was always yelling. It was almost like To the Moon,
I
but
didn't
not.
consider that yelling. He, you know.
Yeah, no, he was yelling, but Dino would run and hit him and lick him, and it was
Yeah.
fun.
Yeah.
But he was a nice family man.
Yes.
Yeah, I don't think it was yelling, like yelling, mad yelling. It was
Right.
yelling, happy yelling, like
Yeah, it was
shouting.
Honey, where's my
Wilma,
shirt?
I'm home.
Yeah, Wilma,
you know,
I'm
like,
home.
Get
That kind
the
of thing.
slippers ready.
Right,
Remember,
right,
she had to have
right.
the pipe and the slippers, and the dog would run and give it to him.
Those were the
All
days.
that stuff in a paper.
Those
yeah,
were
it
the
was
days.
so cute. It was a cute family situation. Okay,
Did you ever run and get the slippers for your husband when he came home from work?
No.
Oh, okay.
That didn't
All
happen.
right.
But he used to have a dog who actually was trained. Dog,
Okay.
one of his dogs was
All
so
right, so
smart.
I guess those shows didn't.
Oh my gosh, his
really
dog
do
would
too much
actually
for you.
do that. But
Okay.
anyway, Brady Bunch, the 3 kids, the 3 girls and 3 boys, and
So
the
tell me
the
some value that you got
Okay,
out
the
of
blended,
that.
the Brady
The-
Brady
with-
Bunch.
okay,
Brady Bunch was
okay.
a blended family, and you're like a blended family. 3 girls and 3 boys put in a situation. They're preteens and teenagers getting along in the same room with the other, or down the hall with the other 3 boys and the girls, and I love that show because I related to, I wasn't really Marcia, but I wasn't really Jan. I was sort of more Jan, but then I didn't have an older sister, so it's like, I don't know how I related to Jan more. But she was the second, and I was the second child, maybe that's why. But
Okay.
I used to love that show because they had a lot of good moral values. Their dad was an architect, and he was very nice, and they always learned something. They did something wrong, or there was a situation. It's always a challenge of some kind.
Yeah.
And the maid, Alice, was always in there, and helping smooth things out or whatever. I loved it. And then Gilligan's Island, Ginger or Marianne? Who did you like the most?
I mean, I wasn't a big Gilligan's Island.
Okay,
type
all the
of
girls
person.
at my reunion that I talked with about this, they all liked Marianne.
Okay.
I like Ginger. I'm sorry, I was a Ginger girl.
Okay,
I like the
so-
glam. I like the all the glam and the movie star. I thought she was better.
Okay. So.
So everybody's got
what
their
values did
their
she-
alter ego, I suppose. But yeah, the values. I would say Marianne had all the values, though.
Okay.
She was the moral, the very sweet, very girl next door. And the professor ended up liking her. And everybody liked her more,
Okay.
Because Ginger was airhead. Ginger was
Okay.
a bimbo. Basically, she was very surface and
Okay.
all about
So-
looking good.
Okay, so. what-
Versus being good.
Okay.
So and that is key. Looking good versus being good is a
Okay.
very important thing to note about, like, say, when I moved to Los Angeles, I noticed that a lot of people were into looking good
Yeah.
versus being good.
Yeah, well, that's la man. Everybody looks good. Everybody's eating right. Everybody's staying trim. But what does that have to do with the values? You
Well-
went first to you like Ginger because she was all dressed up and
I
always
think
looking
that
good.
maybe I was just
But
being
opposed
silly.
to Marianne,
But-
who you said had all the values.
Yeah, she did. In retrospect.
Okay,
I
so
mean,
guys,
it
which
was-
one do you like? The one that looks good or the one with the values? But anyway,
You've got to think about that when you look at people, because I think it was more surface and fluff. It was more liking the fashion. She was a little more glamorous. I think it was more
Yes.
that. But the values,
Mhm.
yeah, Marianne was the best one
Okay.
because she had it down. She was not an airhead, not a bimbo. She was about whatever needed and wanted, what people needed and wanted around her. She was supportive and helpful.
I
And that is
appreciate
what
all
I
those
think-
shows
I
that
think-
we grew up with because
Yeah.
they did have value-based messages.
And also
You know?
Friends, their show Friends, which
Friends.
is a current being
Okay,
rerun again
okay,
today. That's a
okay.
good show. To
George
show
Jefferson was a good show.
Oh, yeah, that was
good
good.
times.
I know.
Depicting African Americans as something other than bank robbers, drugs.
And
drugs.
Raven, I love the show Raven, which is on again now.
Those were positive
and
images.
And Friends is on now.
Bill
Very
Cosby's
positive.
show the same way, although it hasn't ended up that great for Bill. But you got to admit, it was the #1 TV show
It was
for like
great.
10 years running.
It was a beautiful show.
And those shows all
Yeah.
had family values.
They did.
Right now, I am
And
in
Will-
the phase of my life
Will
where
Smith, like
Yeah,
Fresh Prince was
Fresh
a great
Prince,
show. That
another
show-
good one.
You saw family values in that
where
show.
I'm getting into retirement. Okay, I turned 61 next year, full 62. Cut the cord, and I'm driving a cab right
But
now.
you're kind of a young.
Yeah,
Very
and,
young
and I,
62.
I just don't want to sit, be at home sitting down doing nothing.
Right,
so
so
I'm
you're
entering
working.
that next phase
So
of
you have
life
your own-
and figuring it out and trusting God every step of the way. So the cab thing is a real
I'm glad you mentioned it
cool
because-
thing for me. I had a friend say, "Man, I wouldn't be hauling people around." but that's you. I enjoy the experience.
Of
I actually
interacting with the people.
enjoy the
Yeah.
people. I mean, there's not too many places in the country where you can go 12 miles up and down Las Vegas Boulevard and make a living.
That
you go
is
from
amazing.
Bellagio over to Paris, over to Cosmopolitan,
Yeah.
and most people are on vacation right now, so they're happy, they're very jovial.
I agree.
And we have the business conferences that are coming up, so I get a chance to interact with people.
Yeah, actually,
and I
that-
say all that to say this.
Mhm.
Last night I picked up a couple,
Mhm.
and I'm going to mention them. They were an Hispanic couple.
Okay.
And Hispanics have been getting a real hard time in the media as of late because of the situation at the border.
Yeah.
And Marianne Williamson did talk about that. She said Nicaragua, El Salvador, what's the...
Argentina? No.
No, the Central America Peninsula.
Cuba? No.
If
Colombia.
you've been there, you understand why these people want to come to the United
Because
States.
it's so rural and it's
It
no
is.
streets.
I had
and
the opportunity
it's-
to go to
they
Nicaragua.
don't
There's a
have
friend
the
of mine
beautiful streets and
who was
amenities we
developing
have.
land in San Juan del Sur. I've never been to such a humble place in my life. When he arrived, he said they were making $1 a week. When he started developing
Sounds like prison.
land,
Sounds like prison.
he raised them to $1 a day. So $5 in a week, you're making a lot of money.
Yeah.
Okay? So she said all that to say you have to understand the plight of these people
Yeah.
and why they are coming forward
I know. When I
to
was
the
when I
United States.
when I went to India on that business trip, I was told, this is in maybe 20 years ago,
Yeah.
that they made, I believe it was $1 a day. That was what I was told, the common
Yeah, when I was there, it was $1 a
And
day.
because the caste system was very strong, and it still is over there.
Right, but I wanted to finish the story with this couple in the cab.
Okay.
The gentleman sat in the front with me, and the wife and the two young boys sat in the back seat. And I noticed the kids immediately when they got in the car. I mean, we talked about Opie. They had the Opie haircut. They had the part, the side, it was faded out.
Okay,
And,
so cute little-
they were yes ma'am, and are you having a good time? I always
Nice.
try to interact with the family and the kids.
Like down to earth kind of
What's been
people.
your favorite place? And when those little boys got out of the car, both of them said, "Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir." Both of them.
Oh, that's sweet.
And I looked at the dad and I said, you know what? I drive this strip all day long.
Mm-hmm.
It is very rare, R-A-R-E, rare,
R-A-R-E.
to hear a kid say thank you. And he went into a rant, and it was like, okay, thank you very much,
So
but I
he
need
had-
to move on to the next
so he
person.
had actually taught them.
Yeah, he said it's important for me to give them values. It's
I love
important
that.
for me to make sure that they get educated.
Yeah.
It's important to me that my
Mhm.
kids understand and appreciate what we're doing for them.
Yeah, and what
I
they
told him, I
have,
said,
what
look,
they have."
you guys are so lucky to have a mom and a dad that cares. Okay, to have kids to say please and thank you.
Yeah, you know
that
what I used to
just
say?
doesn't
you know
happen
what I used
anymore.
to say to my kids?
What?
When I didn't like something or, wasn't what I had been teaching them at home and they were doing something, I'd say, we don't do that. And it reminded them, we're family, our family does not do that. We don't do that. So
Right.
wake up.
Right.
Our tribe is a little different than that, so.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Shout
important.
out to
You gotta
Desert
be-
Cab. It's a fun thing for me so that I'm just not sitting around while I'm creating the next phase of my life.
And actually, I did Lyft,
Which is the show. And
I did
my
Lyft.
next big opportunity that's coming up that we will be talking about. But go ahead.
Right, very soon, right?
Yes, very
Hot
soon.
reveal, very soon. Yeah, I did Lyft when I first met Greg, and I love that we had that in common. We both were driving. He even taught me some tricks and how to improve on the strip and get around, because there's so many. I lived in Las Vegas 18 years, and I didn't work down at the strip ever. So I knew all the major hotels, but I didn't know all the little ones or the medium ones or all the places
Or the alleyways
that you had.
where.
Yeah, and the shortcuts,
Yeah.
right, to get everywhere really fast and all
Yeah.
the little tiny things. It's been interesting. I
Yeah.
mean, I guess I did it for 5 months or something, but it was a great experience.
Mhm.
It was really fun too. And people,
Shout out to Desert Cab. Thank you for the experience. Go
yeah,
ahead.
and also I have to admit, Friday and Saturday night were fun. because people were in a great mood, and
Oh my God!
it was
Friday
just like
and
a party.
Saturday
You feel
nights
like
was
it's like a social life in a way.
Friday and
because
Saturday
you
nights
can get
are
laughing so hard.
unbelievable.
You crank your music. You kind of look at the people, see what kind of music they would like probably, and usually I can peg them.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. We're all listening to music loud, and I'm getting them wherever, and it's a blast.
Yeah, it is.
It is.
Yeah, Friday and Saturday night, I would have to agree. The strip is buzzing till like
There's
4 o'clock in the morning.
Something will make you laugh. Something will give you a story. And I interview people. Sometimes I even had a release in the glove compartment from our producer director. I was thinking about doing the ambush interviews where they sign a release, and if it's a good interview, I could air it. So
Yeah, one of my favorites on Friday night is going from the Cosmopolitan over to the Caesar's Palace. What's the name of the club at the Caesar's Palace?
Oh, the Omni.
The Omnia.
Yeah.
Man, the outfits that these young ladies would get in the cab, I don't know if you would even call those outfits anymore. My
bathing
God.
suit cover-ups.
Oh my
And
God,
there's a
man.
combat bathing suit on.
Jeez. Coming out in lingerie
It's
and
something
heels.
else. It's something else.
Competition.
It's like basically, you're naked.
Okay,
But anyway.
all right. Where are our values? We keep going back to
The
that.
front looks fine, but then when you see the back, you're like,
Oh,
okay,
front
we went
looks
in
good,
another
too.
direction and farther than we ever saw before.
Okay, so that's important, the values, and that was something that I instilled in my young man, Ross and Chad Franklin, and it really made me feel good when I'd take them places and I'd hear them saying, yes, please, thank you very much. It meant, well, let's just put it this way. Kids learn by what you do, not so much by what you say. So if they hear Dad saying, yes, please, more than likely they will pick that up as well. So please don't underestimate.
I love that about you, Greg. That's good.
Please
That's good
don't
fathering.
underestimate the role that you play in a child's life. Okay? Again, people remember what you say. No, what you do, not so much what you say.
Actions speak louder than words.
Actions do speak louder
But
than
also
words.
you have to speak things into existence in the beginning. I mean, you have to have a sufficient amount of conversations about anything to make it happen in life.
Yes. Our senior pastor, Reverend Doug, at the Center for Spiritual Living, my first Sunday there, he shared a thought that really resonated with me. And that is, if you share information and you start doing it on a regular basis, it becomes a practice. So if we talk about love, we talk about being inclusive, and we're willing to include all denominations into our circle of life, into this world that we've all encumbered and we're living it. If we can get 10% of the population to join us in this.
Yes. He said 10, all it takes
is
is
10%.
10% of the population to make
10%.
any big change happen.
Yes.
It's amazing. It's
10%
statistically what it is.
To make any change happen.
Very cool.
So,
Very cool. It's
so
not
what
unachievable.
if we had 40 million people all start sharing love with each other?
Yeah, the light over the dark.
The light over the dark.
Light over the dark.
Instead of flipping
Light
me the
over
bird,
dark.
instead of speaking evil towards me, instead of speaking evil against some people that you know nothing about, and you don't care about their plight.
Yeah.
Let's
accentuate the positive.
Yeah, let's accentuate the positive.
Life is too short.
Yeah, if we can get 40 million people to embrace love, it can become what?
Light over dark.
Light over dark it is. Okay.
Yeah. And the values. Very nice. Good. Yeah, and so the TV characters that we liked as kids and even Friends today, you see a love there. You see people
All
who
it
care
takes is
about each other.
10% and becomes a practice.
You see people who care about each other.
Right.
I know a lot of people who don't know their neighbors. You should get to know your neighbors. It's important to know who lives near you just for peace of mind, I think. You want to have a sense of community. I mean, you have to do that. You can't just expect it to fall in your lap. You have to get out there and rustle the bushes, be friendly. Oh, your dog's cute, just little comments, just something to connect you with people.
Right. The typical neighborhood is you pull in, you open the garage door, with your garage door opener and pull the car in and let the garage down.
you
That's
don't-
the extent
and you don't
of
know who-
knowing your neighbor, and you might get a friendly wave or you might not. But, you can't always blame the other guy. You have to take a look at yourself.
Right.
Because my mom used to say to me, if you want a friend, be a friend.
It's beautiful.
If you want a friend, be a friend. So what I do, I didn't wait for them to come knock on the door and welcome me to the neighborhood. I went and knocked on their door and said, hey, I'm your new neighbor.
I love that.
Huh?
That's
Why
so
not?
awesome. That's like my sister-in-law, Lisa. Hi, Lisa Steinhauer. She used to do that to the neighbors, the new neighbors.
Yes.
Especially the ones who had kids. She'd go, I'm your new, she was I found out that she was actually one of the first ones to introduce herself to neighbor kids when people moved in the neighborhood. And that's nice.
Right.
You know?
Right. It's a fun thing.
She's an attorney.
Yes.
She's got a brain in her head, and, she has a heart, too. And I like that when people have both together,
Well, the good news for me, again, on that, and that's getting back to my kids, is that Ross, especially my oldest, he would go through the neighborhood and knock on doors.
Oh, yeah?
And people in the neighborhood would say, I love your kid. He was in,
the greatest
riding his
smile.
bike and he
Hey, I
drove
met
up in the
Ross.
driveway and knocked on the door, and
greatest
we let him
smile.
in. And, he's such a great kid.
He has the greatest smile of anybody I think I've ever seen.
Yeah,
It's
he
just
and Chad
it's horrible.
both.
It's not just his face, his smile, but his eyes smile, and his smile smiles, and his body, just everything about him. I don't know. He's a very amazing guy.
Yeah. I
Yes.
remember when we moved into the neighborhood in Laguna Hills, and we were the only African-American family living in this gated community, thank you, God. And one of the neighbors came and knocked on the door, and she had some cookies.
Mm-hmm.
And, the wife, who's the ex-wife now, took the cookies, and she came in and she said, look, the neighbor brought us some cookies. I said, did you invite her in? She said, no, she's gone. I closed the door.
That would have been the next step, right? I mean,
So what I
she
did,
kind of
I said, open the front door, and she's walking halfway down the street now. I said, hey, thank you for the cookies. Would you like to come in and meet my family? Absolutely.
See,
So
that's
she
cool.
came in.
Their house is decorated already, right?
Yeah,
Have them in, yeah.
I said, yeah, let them come on in.
That's neat.
Yeah, so she did. She got a chance to see that we weren't living on cardboard boxes. We weren't eating off of paper plates.
That you maybe would be fun to hang out with. Play cards with. You had a card game.
that other side of the chatter you hear, oh, this black family's coming in the neighborhood. The value of our neighborhood's going to go down and blah, blah,
that's a
blah.
bunch of hooey.
I said, let her in so that she can see how we live and we have the values
also
that
you-
the rest of
you
the
got a
people in
card
the
game.
community
You
have.
You had a card game going with neighbors and friends,
Yeah,
right?
we had fun.
You
We had fun.
A little regular thing that you did with the community and people. And that's nice.
So in essence to all of this is the value is to appreciate the value of friendship. Appreciate the value of neighbors. Appreciate the value of your spiritual community.
Yes.
All of that
That's
will
a
uplift you in times of need. Because we all have been there, and if you haven't, get set, buddy, because your time will come. We're either going through something or we're just coming out of something. But it is a part of life.
Right.
Value your friendships.
I love
and
that.
teach values to your kids.
Yeah, teach values,
and
have
our
moral
whole
values.
world will be much better. All we need is 10%.
And I like
Okay,
that
so
you
we
took
can get-
I love that you took another slant on that. Not just do you have moral values, but value. In other words, be grateful. Have values, but also be grateful for those. It has value. And I mean, you speak value into things by saying something about it.
Right.
You acknowledge, and gratefulness
Right.
is it's good to value things.
Right. So after Mrs. Kravitz came in, if you watch
I used to
Bewitched,
love that.
Miss Kravitz came in.
He
and took a
calls
look
me
at
that.
the-
He's called me Mrs. Kravitz before.
Yeah, I do, because she's
He's
so
called me
nosy.
Mrs.
She's so
Petrell,
nosy.
Sister
She is
Petrell.
so nosy.
I'm really
She's
nosy.
always asking
But
and
I'm a
snooping and
Yanta-
everything.
I'm a
But
Yanta personality, and I like that. I'm a mothering.
after she spread the
smothering.
information to the community, the next day it was like,
What?
it was like everybody was waving
yeah,
now.
because they know you're cool.
Yeah,
You're
he's
nice
okay.
people.
He's, they're
And
cool
then you
people.
became the president of the association.
I did become
for
a president
3
of the
years.
association.
You kind of
Yeah,
got to
and
know
they gave
everybody.
they gave me the checkbook to be able to sign checks.
They liked you.
Yeah,
that's
because I
cool.
had values. They knew that they could trust me, and that's worth more than anything
Yeah, and
It's trust.
one
It's
of
worth
those
more
talk-
than any money.
The talk I had the other day about
Right.
leadership in business, and they said something about administrators who are interviewing. They can feel trustworthiness. You're looking for trustworthiness, but they can usually feel it viscerally when they are right next to someone.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, that's good.
That's an interesting
Values,
point.
Trustworthiness.
How do you know that a person, from the interview standpoint, not
Well,
to jump off on a tangent
It said
here,
that
but-
in the talk.
Okay.
It said that the leadership, it's like that's one of the things in leadership that they were mentioning.
Yeah.
That it's better than a Skype. Being
Yes.
right there with somebody, there's something else that happens.
Yes. Well, sometimes in this in this day and time, they don't fly people out for interviews as much as they used to, or you go to a physical location.
Yeah.
You may have to do that Skype.
Yeah.
But how do we get that we are a trustworthy individual through that Skype? And one of the things that I always like to do when I was interviewing candidates for sales positions is tell me about your most fun time growing up in your family.
Oh, good question.
And typically-
so it gets them excited.
Yeah.
It's something that they can get
Yeah.
passionate about.
Yeah, and
Nice.
you let people talk, man, about their Christmas experience and waking up to gifts and mom cooking the meal and
Right.
relatives coming over and family and friends.
Right.
You got somebody here who you think can be a team player because this person seems to have values as a person that just sits there and go,
Yeah, the values is what they're listening for. It's like a.
I don't even know if we had any good
It's
family
like
times
there's
together.
such a
Maybe
thing
when
as-
we went to McDonald's or something.
There's such a thing as listening, how you listen to people. If you're listening for their values as an interviewer, you're listening for these things, these
Yes.
kinds of notes to come out, things to come out.
Yes. Well,
So-
we're gonna put a wrap on this
Yeah, we're
values.
gonna go to the next subject.
And we hope that you've gotten something out of it. And the takeaway is, please share your values with those that are around you.
And also make sure
share
your
the
kids,
love with your
those
kids.
kids,
Make sure
the
that
kids,
they understand the
kids
importance
shows,
of values.
The kids shows that your kids watch, make sure that you like the values that this show gives, because there are shows that aren't always good out
Yeah.
there. We watched everything. Remember when SpongeBob SquarePants came out, we were like, what's this guy? Who is this guy? And my kids were 3 and 5 years old. We were going to watch it for the first time. And I thought, he's pretty funny. We all agreed. He's okay. And we liked SpongeBob, and he's still out there today,
Well, you see, we could keep talking on this subject because you talk
could.
about knowing what your kids watch.
Yeah, we were always
that's,
all about
that's
that.
very important.
We watched everything first to make
You know.
sure we agreed with what the premise was.
Yeah, I was kind of anal on that, and I probably shouldn't tell, but I did anyway. I mean, I'm paying the mortgage. You're not going to sit in your room with the door closed. I mean, the door's open. When you get 18
that.
or 21
That's
and
a
you want to
good
have your
premise.
own place,
Oh, yeah, no, we
you can
wouldn't
have
let
the
our
door
kids-
open. But I want to see what you're doing. I'm
I
not
like
being
that.
nosy, but
No.
I am your dad.
No,
I'm
but
not your
that's-
best friend
you know
right
what I
now.
told my kids?
Okay,
They can shut
so
their door when they're on their own. That's what I told them
that's
too. We were the
exactly
same
what I
way.
just said.
Like when the preteen behavior with the girlfriends.
I want to
they
see what
couldn't be in a
websites
room.
you go into. I
Yeah.
want to know what TV shows that you're going
And
to.
my kids could not be alone in a room with a girl. In the beginning of high school, no. Mm-mm. The
Okay.
door was open. You had
All
to
right.
have one foot on the ground, like the
Okay.
bed. But they had to be doing the homework. That's what they were supposed to be doing in there,
Okay. Well, we're going to wrap it up on values.
Yeah. And thank you for listening about the
Thank you for your comments
the
as
TV
well.
shows when we were kids and
And,
our values we got from them.
William and Robert, who sent messages to us, thank you very much. We will like your page as well. You can shoot me anything you like at G. Franklin Speaks on AOL.com, and I will respond. G. Franklin Speaks, or even Greg Franklin Speaks.
Okay.
All right, so we'll be right back to wrap it up with our last subject. You
Which
want to be
is-
here for this.
This is good.
You want to be here for this one.
This is a hot one.
Go ahead, throw it out
It's going to be
there.
hot.
Throw it
This-
out there.
Okay.
Throw the title out there.
It's about sex and making love.
Now,
Okay?
I was very
There is a
hesitant on
difference.
this one. We fought on this one, but I'm going to give in and let her do her
All right.
presentation, and I'm going to jump in from time to time.
There are a lot of times that I've commented.
But
We're starting?
this is the next segment. We're going to talk about
Oh,
that.
all right,
in the next
sorry.
segment.
Okay, let me start.
She's
when we
getting
get back.
so excited about the
Yes,
topic
it's gonna be
that she's
good.
ready to go right now.
I got some hot
but we
information
have to
for
pay the
everybody.
bills, so we'll be back. And also consider paying the bills with us if you'd like to have your company advertised as a part of
We'll promote
and
you.
support us.
We'll promote you.
We will. Yeah.
You'll be showing your ad in between all
You-
of our breaks.
exactly.
It's a minimal amount for what exposure. We had 27,000 people watch our show recently, you know,
That's
so
a lot
you
of
get
people.
great exposure.
That's a lot of
and
people
it
to
plays
watch
again
the
and
show.
again all month long. You get
And
a
you can
month
watch it as
deal.
many times
We're
as you
offering
want.
a very good deal this month as well for sponsors. So hit the star, by the way. When we're live like this, you can hit a star.
Hit a star.
Bye, see you in a bit. Thank you from Gregarious Joy.
See you in a bit.
Social media shows
is about
branding, opportunity,
and outreach.
We are an entertainment company that empowers others
by promoting and supporting our community
and everyone who reaches our content.
here on social media shows.
Here we're a family.
We are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family. We are family.
We are family.
We are family, and we want you to be part of our social media shows family.
Live streaming on social media is the best new way to interact and bond with your community. Do you love to encourage, motivate, and empower others, but you do not know how? Well, your opportunity starts with us on social media shows. We have 20 shows a week live streamed across the globe, with a reach of over 80,000 and growing. So you can host your own show, and you can be anything we want to be. So let's bring the community together. Let's bring the world to you. Join us now. We've reached the age of live streaming on social media shows. You may ask, we're already ahead of the curve, so why do you need to advertise with us? Well, only 8% of the businesses in the US are using digital advertising to grow their business. That's 2 percentage points short of reaching critical mass, which will lead to faster results. We have 20 plus shows with a reach of over 80,000. We'll give you commercial ads, website link, and connections to nonprofit organizations. So get your brand ready for digital monetization, for we are looking for sponsors, which will bring more traffic to your business and ultimately mean more sales. So let's bring the world to you.
Hello, Joy.
It's Gregarious Joy. We're back.
She wants to
Thank
talk
you for
about
coming
some.
back.
Yeah, she wants to talk about something that's near and dear to
Near
her
and
heart.
dear.
Okay.
Definitely.
Let's run with it.
Okay, in my 20s, I was exposed to this wonderful tape. It was a little cassette tape back in the day.
Mhm.
And it was all about making love. It was about love. And this gentleman who did it amazing. His name's
20 years old?
Yeah, Barry Long. And it's 20, maybe it's 40 years. Actually, I had my 60th.
Is that his real
I had
name?
my,
Barry Long.
Barry Long, Barrylong.
Oh,
He's
okay.
an old guru type guy.
And he's
really,
making sex tapes.
Yeah, no, it's called
Okay.
it's called Sex versus Love,
Okay.
honey. It's a whole
All right.
different thing. Sex versus love. What a subject, right?
Okay.
So anyway, the premise of and I watched these in the beginning
Anybody
of my
with a last name like Long is suspect.
Oh,
Go ahead.
shush.
Go ahead.
Quiet.
Go ahead.
That was But
Okay.
in the beginning of my 20s, I watched these tape CDs, and I actually really wanted to have that as a premise in my life and when I found a mate. And I really always loved the interesting, mind-blowing information that was on these tapes.
Mhm.
It was way out there. It's
Okay.
like, as a kid, I think my mom had that book, We Are, I don't know, what was it? You're about
We Are the World.
The body and your world,
We Are the
feministic
World.
women, and
Okay.
but then it was like, what is it called?
I'm getting hot.
Yeah, take your shirt off.
Okay. No, I'll just take my jacket off.
You could take only the jacket off if you like, but
Okay. Take my shirt off. Come on. This is
he caught that. He caught that.
This is a
Family
family-oriented
All right,
show.
so but
Okay.
it still will be very family-oriented. This
Okay.
tape is amazing. I Googled the guy recently because I wanted to refresh my memory, because there's been lots of times where I said something to Greg and I said, yeah, my love tapes used to talk about something like that. And he'd go, why don't you just listen to those love tapes again? And I did look them up and I found them, and I couldn't even talk on it until I listened to them a couple times to refresh my memory of everything. But it's pretty amazing stuff, this Barry Long. He has a lot of work on meditation and spiritual things, but actually most of his work is on sex and love. Okay? So here goes. All right, and I have a couple of little extra things
Drum
to talk
roll,
about
please.
other than the show.
Okay.
I mean the tape.
Okay.
All right, he talks about some amazing ideas, stuff that will blow your mind. Everybody I've had look at this. And all their friends are talking about it, and I couldn't get a guest today, but I did put it out to about 5 different people who listened to it with their spouse. And they were blown away. They all had a lot of questions, like a lot of interested minds about this.
Well, don't keep us in
All
suspense
right.
any longer.
Okay, so here's what he starts out with. It's like it would trivialize it if I try to give his whole talk, because it's very intense and interesting and different, mind-blowing stuff you never heard before. He is going to have to share it. So go to Barry Long on YouTube and just watch one of his sex and love video. But I would say the premise in the beginning, one of the things he says in the beginning is that he talks about back in history, we were, when the world began. Okay, this is maybe myth, but it's kind of an interesting concept that he's talking about. He said that we were not, originally when we were back in history, we weren't even needing to speak. We had such perfect communication with our spouse that we could communicate telepathically. And we were actually originally gods. We all didn't even need to speak. We had an aura around us, not like Jesus with a little halo, but we had an aura around our whole bodies. And the women's were more golden, the men's were more white, but we all had this aura, and we would travel like spirits. We'd just travel around and do our lives.
So kind of like when you're in the grocery store with your mom, and she tells you in the car before you leave, don't touch nothing. And then you get in the store and you touch something. She didn't even have to say anything. She just look at you.
Yeah, there it is, the look. There it is. The
Okay.
telepathically you
Okay,
knew
so
what she
you
was
knew.
thinking.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, I love that. And actually, so here's the deal. When people's aura got a little dim, they would get together with their spouse and they would make love and they would revitalize their aura, their glow. And I think that's a beautiful premise, because it's actually true. When you have great lovemaking, you do feel a glow. You feel a glow for hours, hopefully for days, It makes you feel connected, it makes you feel whole, it makes you have that glow. So anyway,
Are you still having that glow? Go
yeah,
ahead.
we hope you're all going to have a glow one way or another. But meantime, okay, these tapes, he says that all men are sex obsessed, without exception.
Okay? All men are sex obsessed.
Yes,
Okay?
without exception. And that women...
I'm not saying yay or nay, I'm just repeating.
Okay, and that, they're like, thinking about sex all the time, or they're doing they're having sex with themselves or whatever alone and things like that, and even they have taught it to women. Like the women, we are not really like that by nature. We are different. Inside us, we're more actually about love. We don't really have the sex obsession that we've learned it from men. And we've even learned to masturbate or enjoy our own bodies by ourselves because we've learned that from men. But that's actually not our true nature or our true, the way, in his opinion, the best way to be, He says that men have lost something in lovemaking these days. And what they've lost over the ages is the lovemaking actually is where if a man...
Come on, spit it out.
He's releases these beautiful energies from a woman, like the feminine, their loving energies. He can release that by lovemaking. When he does that, actually, that is the true. Men had true authority in the relationship because they could do that for a woman, and over the ages they've lost their true authority that they had because they knew how to love women properly.
Okay. So is he saying that
to release her finer energies, you have to make love in a different way than sex? It's not like this. It's not sex like we know it today. Like I think most people go for the orgasm, the big O, man and women. It's all about the O. Guess what? This guy, very long, no O. If it happens, maybe it'll happen. But you know what? It's not about the O for man or woman, which is a whole new concept. Would you say?
I'm listening.
All right. So at any rate, so he says that the reason for a lot of problems in our society and our world, women are frustrated, we have emotional upsets and, like that. It's because women are not being loved rightly.
Okay, so are you going to tell us how women need to be loved?
You'd have to listen to a lot of his work before you get to that point.
Okay, but I'm counting on you to share it, though, because you were passionate about it.
Oh, I can't tell you because, there's a lot of things to hear before you would hear how-tos, okay? It's not like one-step process, okay? It's a lot of things. But basically, the premise of his work is that women must be loved. And that if a man and woman decide to have that kind of relationship where that is their premise is to go for that, it starts something completely different than what we have today. It starts a synergism, or it's amazing how much a couple can exude their love to the world by their union as a couple. And it's a beautiful work, the Barry Long's work, and I recommend that everybody go and start watching his videos because it's empowering. And it's actually really great for kids to listen to, and he even encourages you to have your teenage kids listen to it, with you or without you, but listen to it several times. It's just a beautiful premise.
Okay, so what I'm hearing you say is that lovemaking is not always about the orgasm. It's about being with the person, supporting your partner, and...
But here, one thing he says it, okay, like, love can be interrupted. If you're making love,
yes,
like the phone rings or the child comes in or something, you can stop. But wait, if you're going for sex, orgasm, you can't stop that. You got to go for the goal. It's like goal-oriented, and the guy has to work and work and work, and the girl has to work and work. It's always about this goal thing. It's different when love is present. And you're making love versus sex. It can be interrupted. It can start, it can stop, it can start again. It can be all the time. He recommends people make love a lot. All the time.
Okay. All right. All right.
I have a question.
Yes.
Yes.
How about if there's no love?
Well, here's the thing. If you want to find a partner who's interested in this endeavor together, it sometimes, once in a while, people are not a good fit. And that, it's not lost. There's no loss. Just move on to look for somebody who is willing and interested in having this endeavor together.
Okay, I like the statement you made earlier about if you're in a relationship and integrity is important and you are 2 steps higher or 2 steps lower
Right. It will never
than
work,
the
they
person that you are having that relationship with, it won't work.
Integrity, tonal scale.
Okay?
Yes.
So the integrity part is important.
Like how you act, how you interact with the world, how you are, you're being, you're.
But let me ask you a question. Is this something that has generated over time? Because let's say you've been married the first 10 years, and the first 10 years you probably, knocking it out of the park as much as you can. You're kicking the boots or knocking the boots or whatever you want to call it.
Horizontal mamba? What are we talking about?
Yeah. So as you get older, and you've now been married for 20 years, 30 years,
Yes.
40 years,
Right.
is the sex as important at that age?
Yes. Yes.
Because
he talks about.
because what I'm hearing you say, and what I heard from that, is that you're taking care of your partner. If your partner is sick, you're making sure your partner's well. You're taking them to the doctor. You grocery shopping. You're cooking. You're doing things in that relationship that could be considered lovemaking, because
It's a
these are things
kind
that
acts.
is making the relationship work.
I agree, and
That's kind of what
you know
I heard.
Going
But one
into
of the
my
things
second
that
part
you
of my
did say
talk is about physical signs
is
of
that
affection.
women need to be loved.
Yes.
I can reverse that because men feel they need to be
Well,
loved.
they'll
And
believe me.
I can
if
guarantee
you
you,
make a
this
woman
is a
feel,
conversation of discussion when I
Yes.
go to the bar or go to watch a football
This is
game
hot stuff,
or
man.
I'm at somebody's
This is leading
house.
edge, guys.
That's one of the things that they're talking about, is they don't feel appreciated.
Yep.
Man, I get up and I work 8 hours or 10 hours. I pay the bills. I make sure that the groceries are on the table, and my wife doesn't appreciate what I do.
Yeah. Because
Okay?
if you don't get
So-
that, like, appreciated,
So
and also in the way
it's
that you
more
want
than
to
just
appreciate
making love in
wait,
bed.
wait.
It's how do you take care of your relationship and your family.
May I say, appreciate it in the way that you want to be appreciated.
Okay,
Like if
that's
it's
key, the way you want to be
See, it's like
appreciated.
being loved in the way you want to be loved. It's not just loving like, okay, I paid the bills, or I bought you a flower. Maybe she doesn't like flowers. Maybe you got to do something that she wants, that she would like, and you figure out what.
But I
what
would
it
think
would
at
take.
this point in the relationship, you figured
Yes.
that out.
Well, things can change. I mean,
Okay.
you could evolve as people, right? I mean, he does talk about older couples, people who've been together a long time, and the challenge is not love making; it's more keeping it new.
Okay.
And he goes into a lot of that too. You should listen to his tapes. You gotta
Yeah,
listen to
yeah.
Barry Long.
Well, I've listened
You
to
gotta
some of
listen
it.
to Barry Long.
I've listened to some of it.
He was kind of blown away.
You have to give in order to receive. That is absolutely,
I like that. Good. Thanks, Maria.
Yeah. You have to take the time, whether you do it on vacation, and if you can take some time for a little vacation, even if you're not getting on a cruise or going across the country, maybe jumping in the car with your spouse and going down the street. I had a couple in the cab who said that, they just needed some me time. So Vegas is really close, 4-hour drive from them, from LA, and they drove over here and just had a weekend where they could be alone and they could just rejuvenate
and you were telling
themselves,
me about a couple
see a
who
movie,
did, you were telling
see
me,
a nice show, grab a nice dinner.
You were telling me about a couple one time that they were married, but they did a couple relationship ceremony because they didn't want to get married really because they were older couple. But
That was an interesting couple.
They got together. They did a ceremony,
Yes.
or a love ceremony.
Yes.
And acknowledging the love partner that they had.
Yes,
Yeah.
they had been in a relationship for 10 years. They had decided not to get married, but they came to Vegas with the intent of saying vows. They wanted to renew their relationship.
Yeah.
So I said, so what's the difference? She said, we didn't do any that say I do until death do us part. We just reunited our love for each other.
And what it was
And we
for
made
you.
up our own vows.
Yeah, and they didn't even have any people with them either. It was just them, right? with
it was just the two of
They
them.
didn't have all their friends and family. It wasn't a big party, but they did it, and it was special to them. And it was maybe videotaped or, for them to remember and have.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. I
So,
love that.
so the essence of this, if I could wrap it up and put a rubber band around it,
Barry Long's work is
would be
interesting,
what?
deep,
That
it's rich
it's
and
not
satisfying.
always about the orgasm. It is about the relationship that you have with your significant other.
But
Am I on target with that one?
Yeah, but
Am
also,
I getting close? Am I
also
getting warm?
the man has to realize there's a lot to learn. There's a lot to learn.
Okay, there's a lot for all of us to learn.
Yeah. But the
Okay.
men think they have it down. Like you were a player back in the day before you were married. You were dating a lot of people. You think you know everything. Maybe not. I'm just challenging you guys. I'm challenging everybody to listen to Barry Long's work and see what you think.
Okay.
All right, there's Making Love 1 and Making Love 2, these different YouTube. And actually, I've only talked about the one so far. Anyway, I wanted to talk about
I wanna know-
physical signs of affection.
Okay.
Like, massaging someone's body.
Okay,
Hugging
massage
them,
is good.
Hugging them.
Okay.
Handshaking is actually a physical sign of affection.
Okay. Hand holding.
Speaking softly.
Speaking softly,
Like really
okay.
whispering or talking softly is a sign of affection.
Okay. Come on with
A
it.
card, read it.
Okay.
Read the card.
How many of us do maybe
and
check
reading-
that section and get a nice card for our significant
Like a
other?
little love letter, just a
Yeah.
little, hi, I appreciate you.
Put this on
like
the
a thank
pillow.
you card, but a little love letter.
Yeah.
Or taking the great people in history who wrote amazing love letters and reciting some of that on there too, because it just adds so much richness, beautiful, all the great love.
No, I agree.
Love letters, like in Sex and the City, when
Right.
Carrie finally married Big,
Yeah.
she had all the famous love letters in history, and he memorized a lot of them when they had a little breakup and they got back, but he had memorized a lot of them and he was reciting them.
Well, it
because
sounds
he
like to me it's communication. I mean, you have to communicate with your spouse.
But that's a sign of affection.
know,
I'm talking
what-
about physical signs of affection. Okay,
what
here's
do I
another
need
one.
to do to
Here's
make
another
you
one.
feel fulfilled?
Yeah, well,
Okay.
and that whole thing with dating, that's a big discovery process, right? Okay, like putting on music for someone,
Okay.
putting
Make sure-
singing to someone.
Okay. Now, if you can sing, I can see that as being a good one.
Singing,
But-
humming, you can hum.
Okay,
like
the music
like
is a good thing,
Teddy
but-
Pendergrass.
Pendergrass,
Best
okay.
love songs
I
in the
introduced her
world.
to Teddy, and now she can't stop.
I love those
Okay.
beautiful love songs. They're
Yeah.
beautiful. And
Come
there's
on
half of
and
them are
go
breakup
with me.
songs too, though. But the love songs I like.
Come on
Anyway,
over to my place.
Yeah.
Okay.
I
yeah.
love that.
Yeah, you can put that one on and just let him do the talking from there.
Oh yeah.
On the way home. Anyway, music, that's good, but make sure that the music you are picking is the kind of music that your significant other, your spouse likes.
Yeah, well, that's the
I mean,
thing.
I wouldn't
I like
jump
the
in
blues. I
bed
like the blues.
and
Like, I love the blues.
Okay,
so
I love the
anytime
blues
you're going to play
too,
the blues,
but-
oh my gosh, I'm going to be dancing and I'm going to be into it. I love it.
Okay, but do you play the blues when you're getting intimate?
I don't know, I never have. I haven't been intimate in a long time. I've been divorced for a year and a half now.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay.
But writing your memoirs. That
Okay.
is a sign, a physical sign of affection is writing your memoirs.
Okay.
For someone to get to know you better, they get to read something about your life, Doing a project with them.
Okay.
Like knitting a blanket together. You started that and I started this. Whatever. There are men who have knit.
Knitting a
You have
blanket.
men who, oh shush.
Isn't
Kareem Abdul-Jabbar knit?
Well, from a man's standpoint,
project.
When we're doing a project together, what it sounds like to me is that Saturday morning honey-do list. When my pastor got married,
and you're watching the show.
I gave him
you
a
could be
big
knitting and
honey-do
doing.
milling. And he was looking at me like,
Oh, why? Because it was the honey.
I said, dude, get set. Every Saturday morning, you're going to have a honey-do list. And he cracked up. Now he knows exactly what I'm talking about. Because you've got a list of things that, that doorknob that needs to be fixed upstairs in the bathroom. Can you get a new toilet hanger? Can you get
Greg,
Yes.
that's a physical sign of affection. Actually, because you're doing a physical act that is going to make them happy.
Okay.
So in other words, a honey-do list is actually a very good physical
Yeah,
sign of
but
affection.
I spend
on a level,
I spend
it's
40 to 50 hours a week doing my
yeah,
job.
but wait a second.
I don't want to spend my Saturday doing honey-do list, but I do it anyway because I know it's going to make you happy.
Wait.
But that's not the way that I want to spend my weekend.
Excuse me, I want to talk.
Okay.
What about a woman makes special food that she knows you like.
I love it.
Cooking that's a physical sign of affection.
Yes.
So why can't you do the honey-do list without making a big face and, you know, acting all nuts about it and mad? No, it's men don't like to do the honey-do list.
No, it's not that I'm getting mad.
It's a physical
It's just
sign
that
of
every
it sounds
Saturday.
annoying. Sounds like you're annoyed.
Okay.
Do you think I act annoyed when I'm cooking you your favorite meal? No, I do it with joy. I do it with joy.
Well, one of the
joy
things
of cooking.
that, you know, I found in my 25 years of marriage is that communication is the key. You know, I would be, you know, I'd fly out Monday morning and come back Friday night, or sometimes Sunday night and come back Thursday night. You know, I'm gone all week, and I'm in a different city every night in a different hotel.
So what
when I get
do?
home,
The physical sign of affection.
you know, the sit down and having to do all of these chores was a difficult thing. Heart is through their.
You could have hired it out,
yes,
but at least you could have done the hiring. You know.
Okay, but you know, what I'm saying through this is my spouse said to me, she said, look, you know, I feel like on Saturdays, you know, you're gone all week and I'm taking care of the kids.
Yes.
And then Saturday you come home and you want to kind of chill out.
Yes.
Okay? So I don't have any space. So I said, so what would that space look like for you?
Okay.
I don't know.
Did
I want to
you make
go
her
to
a
movies or
Did you
something.
make her a she shed?
So, no, I did not make her a she shed.
Women need a she shed.
Okay,
they
so
need their own place.
So what I
not
did
just a
is
man cave. You know?
I gave her the Saturday off.
Oh, all right.
So she could go to the movies,
She
go
did
get her hair
girl
done,
thing,
get all
her
her
spa-
girl things
spa
done,
stuff,
and I had the
yeah.
boys. I took them to the beach, I took them to the soccer
Good.
games, I did all
So
that.
that got to be your tradition.
And it did.
And that was a physical sign of affection to,
Right.
to her.
Right. So she looked forward to having her Saturdays off.
That was
And some
nice.
Saturdays she would go to the movie theater and watch 3 or 4 movies and just
Binge.
just say, I'm just gonna sit, watch a movie, eat some popcorn, and just enjoy my day. So communication is the key, I would say, to a successful relationship.
And physical signs of affection.
Physical signs
Yeah.
of okay.
Yeah.
Now,
And also storytelling, like, is a physical sign of affection. Like storytelling, like there's even cruises where people go on and they learn to write their stories of their life.
Yeah.
You're a coach for that. You've done that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, I
He's
have
an
done that.
amazing storyteller.
Okay.
And he can coach people in
well,
there too.
I remember one story that was really, to me, kind of hilarious.
Is this short-lived?
Yeah, it was a couple, they had been married for, like your parents, 60 years.
60 years.
And a question came up, do you guys still make love?
Okay.
And she was quick to respond, yeah, we make love in the hallway. And we were like, in the hallway.
That's special. I know what that is.
She said, yeah, he get up in the morning and he says, good morning. And I say, screw you. And he says, screw you back. And we go on the front porch and we smoke a cigarette.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, so it's like, okay, but for them,
It's a
at age
physical
60,
sign of affection.
it worked for them.
It's a physical sign of affection.
Okay.
Yeah, and actually, you know what they say? The old Jewish couples I've met, because my in-laws were Jewish, is a lot of them bicker a lot. Actually, they have this thing with the Jewish. They really, really do get into combative verbally.
Right.
But they say that when one of those spouses dies, if they've lived a long life together, the other one will die within a year or two.
Yeah,
Because they
if
can't.
they're that connected.
Because they need that banter.
Yeah.
They need that. They the pushback.
Right.
You know.
Right.
And actually, you know, when it comes to this Barry Long's love stuff,
Right.
that women push when they really need love.
Right.
In other words, you know, you think, oh, a woman's bitchy around her period or around her ovulation. Well, yeah, maybe it's a plea for sanity.
Okay.
You know, maybe it's something that the guy can do to help her with that.
Yeah.
So, at any rate.
Well,
Okay, and then terms of endearment.
Terms of
okay, saying
endearment.
sweetheart, love bug, peaches, snuggle whoops, whatever you call people, you know.
Okay.
They're verbal.
I think guys do that pretty
terms
good.
of endearment are
Terms of-
special, very important.
Very important, terms of
Uh-huh.
endearment. But I'm not understanding some of the stuff I'm hearing today when they call their woman the B word. It's
What?
like,
Oh, yeah, I don't know about that either.
what happened to, love and peaches and all that other kind
I
of
think
stuff?
that in a weak moment, guys will try it too, who like normally wouldn't even say that and do that. But if
We-
it's
you
not
know,
a
we're
if
just-
it's not
we're just trying to
if
keep
it's
it-
not
keep
a
it
sign
real.
of affection to a woman, then she's got to say that's not a sign of affection to me.
Yeah, you got to speak up. We're not mind readers. If it's not working,
if a woman
let me know what does
like
work.
it, she likes to be called the, like hoe or bitch, whatever. Let her be called that. But I personally don't care for that.
Okay.
That's just me.
Okay.
I mean, some people like it. So
Okay.
Whatever. But it's a affectionate sign of affection verbally.
Yes.
Maybe you could have your rules, like maybe not in public. Don't say that kind of thing to me in public. Or,
Right.
But
Keep that at
whatever
home.
works for you. Whatever
Right.
floats your boat. Right.
I think one of the best pieces of advice that I heard at a wedding, and it was a toast.
Okay.
And I can't say it because it's a family show, but I'm going to throw it out there. And with your creative mind, I'm sure you will get it.
Uh-huh. What was the toast?
The toast was, if you do two things in this relationship with him, and he was speaking to the new spouse,
Okay.
you will have a very successful marriage.
And what were those?
And they are the two F's. And if you figure that out,
I know what they were.
okay,
Your
I won't talk
grandmother.
about.
Your
No.
that was from the
No.
toast. Okay.
Feed him, and whatever you want to do with the other one. I know if you feed a man and you feed him good, I want to come home and smell something cooking on the stove. You know what I mean?
Best.
Isn't it?
I love the smell of a chicken cooking when you walk in
Chicken
the
cooking,
door.
some a
apples
beef
baked-
roast or
apples
something in the
baking. Ooh, cinnamon and apples.
I'm out of luck because I don't cook for a man.
You cook all the time, Marie. You're
Okay.
a great cook.
We have a question in the studio. She doesn't cook for her man. So
Well, there's always other signs of affection, terms
well,
of endearment.
maybe she's knocking his
And-
boots to the point that her cooking is not important.
We'll
We don't
see.
know?
We'll
We
see.
don't know?
When that day happens, we'll see.
Okay. So
Okay, wait. So physical signs of affection, terms of endearment are
Terms
important
of
to think
endearment.
about,
Okay.
and also loving them in the way that they want to be loved.
That's key right there.
It is, and
That's key. And we're not mind readers. When you say love them in the way they want to be loved, tell me. And tell me like I'm a fourth grader. I want you to specifically
Yeah.
tell me what it is that makes you happy. I can't guess.
Yeah, like I want to give examples. Like
Give me some
even
examples.
like having a nice current haircut and getting my nails done. That is love, and you pay for it, or you endorse me paying those prices, or getting it as far as our agreement about spending. That is a living me in the way that I want to be loved.
Okay. Okay.
And also asking questions about what have you always liked? Like what foods, TV shows, movies, what hobbies.
Okay, let me ask you a question. When you talk about things that you like, is it appropriate for your spouse, now you're married, to say, what I like, this guy that I used to date, he used to do it in this position and it made me feel really good. Now, do you do that? Can you ask those type questions?
Well, I don't know, because everybody's bodies
You don't
are
know.
different. Some men are different body, women are
Me
different
personally,
body.
I really don't want to hear about
what
that.
works,
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Anybody,
Yeah.
even men or women, want
Yeah.
to hear
Yeah, like they say, don't
Well-
bond over each other's baggage, or
Okay.
don't talk about your past too much. Yeah, that's
Okay.
that's not good.
Unless,
Unless
it's an
pertinent.
occasional thing
Yeah,
and
where
it's
it,
important to the
applies.
situation. Okay, this is the way he did it and it made me, so, you might be open to trying
also,
it.
what
You
you
might be open to trying it
Yeah, but
if you think
what
it
you
works.
liked before
Okay.
may not be what's going to work with the new person, because their body's shaped different, their body's different. A woman's, man's, you may not fit together in the same way. Something else might be pleasurable that wasn't pleasurable before.
Right.
And something that was pleasurable maybe isn't something you guys could do.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter.
I remember in my dating days, there was one particular young lady that I dated who would always bring the book, The Joy of Sex,
Yeah, I
to
had
bed.
that. I had that.
Okay, and it's got, if you know anything about the book, it
Beautiful
probably
book.
has 100 different positions.
Right.
And she
sexual
flipped through it and said, what do you think about this?
Uh-huh.
Flip through it, well,
Well,
what do you
that's
think
good for a
about that?
conversation topic. Did you like it? or no?
I did, because again, I'm not a mind reader. I would have never known in 100 years that you would want to be whatever position it is. I would not have known unless you told me.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
instead
and
of trying to tell me, she would let the book tell me. And she would show me pictures and say, let's try this tonight.
A picture,
anything
paint,
to keep the relationship
A
exciting.
picture's worth 1,000 words.
Yeah, a picture is worth
Sometimes it
1,000
is.
words.
And also that friend that
Because I don't want to hear about your past boyfriend. Show me a picture.
Yeah, and sometimes physically, somebody may not have something that somebody else does, but there's some other position that actually will be good for that type of problem or that situation with their body. You know, you don't know. You're going to have to figure it out, right, when you get together.
Right.
That's a discovery process. But anyway, the physical signs of affection, terms of endearment, and loving people in the way that they would like to be loved. Like, what is a way that you think is important to be loved?
I'm not going to share my personal
Red beans
stuff.
and rice.
Oh, I mean, I enjoy cooking, yes, and I enjoy when I'm
Oh, how about breakfast in bed?
Breakfast in bed is always nice.
He always says he likes that.
I like when you surprise me with something that you know I like. You know, a surprise. A surprise is always good. How many times do we go through the mundane days of life, and you come home to the same stuff every day, you do the same stuff every weekend, and there's no excitement, there's no surprise.
We have these friends, Lynn and Roscoe, and we had my birthday breakfast with them, and they were so much fun, and they were telling us, I asked him about what's the most grand romantic gesture you ever, that's another question we could get into next time maybe.
Yes.
And he had a great story.
He did,
He said
like
on
that.
Valentine's, 1 year, he has triplet 15-year-olds, these are kids,
Three
kids in the family,
Triplets.
you know.
Beautiful family.
And and so he said that he got the horse and carriage and had the flowers in there and everything, and it met her in a special spot, and it blew Lynn's mind.
See?
You know, to have that, and then that was just beautiful. You could tell he was so happy. He was so excited to have done it because it took him thinking and planning.
Yes.
You know.
Yes.
It was beautiful.
Yes.
So I love that.
Yeah.
Like
you
when
know,
proposals, when people propose and they do something special. I think that's extremely very good.
Yeah,
like
I do too.
In the dessert or some situation where you never believed, suddenly they're proposing.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, I
That's
see a lot
better
of
than
that.
just
I see a lot of
here,
that.
I got this for you.
Yeah, I
You
see a
know?
lot of that in Las Vegas where.
That would not pass if
Yeah.
somebody just said, here,
Yeah.
I got this for you.
But remember, it can't be one-sided. Okay, typically in relationships that I have known people, it's kind of rare that you find when both parties reciprocate in that manner. Typically, there's one doing more than the other.
I think in a way, one tends to love more than the other a little bit. I mean, I don't know if that's right, but more committed to the relationship than the other person. I don't know. I think that's kind of natural, but that's okay.
Mhm.
It's life.
Mhm.
When first has just to roll the other person into it more. That's all. But what were you saying?
I was listening to the comments. If you have questions about this topic, tell us or just, share with us right now, if you would be so kind to let me know what works in your relationship. Just give us a few things that we could share with our audience.
And how do you like to be loved?
How do you like to be loved?
Like maybe you like the on the back. Maybe you like physical.
Some people do like a spank on the rear end.
What about that guy? The handshake. The Indian handshake, remember?
Yeah.
Like this, where he put his, that's the Indian handshake?
Right.
Like, that's a physical sign of affection. That's sweet. That's different. The Eskimos do this, on the nose, they wiggle noses.
Right.
Physical signs of affection, terms of endearment, and loving someone in the way they want to be loved.
So it's key here that, the message is love them in the way that they want to be loved. You have to give in order to receive. You've heard that many times before from us. And spend time with your significant other. Get away from the house. Go out, do something. Go somewhere where he likes to eat or she likes to eat.
And actually,
and have a quiet time, even if it's not an expensive restaurant, a neighborhood place that
discovering, having first. I'm big on this. I'm big on first.
Our director says no. She wants the real expensive restaurant.
The Golden Steer, all the way. Huh? Well, you know what?
The Golden Steer. That's what OJ had his last meal in Las Vegas. Go ahead.
I like the firsts. Like when you have something you do.
You like furs?
firsts.
First.
Where you do something you've never done this, both of you haven't done this thing before. Like you go, to on that roller coaster at the Stratosphere, that really crazy ride up there, or, just do some firsts together. Like go hiking together in Red Rock, in a new spot that's new. Just firsts. I'm into the firsts together. I love that.
But doing
Having
something
new
like that,
experiences
you want to
together.
make sure that your spouse is on board with that.
Yeah, no, you got to
'cause
plan,
maybe you enjoy
you have to
going on a
agree
hike, but maybe she doesn't like hiking because she can't wear her 6-inch pumps.
Yeah.
So maybe a hike would not be the best example.
Yeah, you got to get the good boots.
Yeah.
You got to have good boots, or it's not going to
Yeah.
be worth it. You can't do that with
That's one of the things in my relationship that I enjoyed, was always surprising my ex-wife. I would, go into Steinmart sometimes to shop for myself, and then I'd go and, there's a nice, pretty little black dress.
So you buy her something.
And I'd buy it,
That's
and when
sweet.
she'd come home, the dress is on the bed, along with maybe some earrings or something like that.
Did she love it?
And the reaction that I got from that was priceless.
That's nice. That's
Doing
so
stuff
cool.
like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One time my ex-husband took me to Paul McCartney for my birthday, and
Okay.
and he was saying it was some other concert, or I don't know. He made up some story, and
Yeah.
what we were going to do that night at dinner. We were just going to go to dinner. That was all.
Right.
So anyway, we saw Paul McCartney. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And actually I heard him making the arrangements, and even another couple met us for dinner. And I heard him making the arrangements, and I was like, "What are you talking about over there?" And he goes, "Do you really want me to tell you?" And I thought, he must have surprised me. And I just let him surprise. I go, "Okay, no, I don't want to know that."
Okay.
But
Well-
I would have, he could have told me, but he said, "Do you really want to know every detail?" And I said, "No. You're right, I'll let you surprise me." That's nice.
Yeah, but again, make sure that you're giving it both ways. The man doesn't always want to be the one that does the surprises, and the excuse by saying, "I gave you 2 children" is not enough. Okay?
Yeah.
All right?
I know, I
So
think that women
be
can tend-
reciprocating as well.
But also, I think that women. I don't know. It's. I don't know. Maybe I don't have any excuses.
You don't?
I think that
Okay.
I probably could improve on that. But getting somebody like the guy an app. That has all the sports teams like scores. One of those cool new apps, or
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
trinket, some
Yeah.
mechanical thing they like. That's fun. That's the guy thing. There's always guy gifts
Yes.
and there's girl gifts.
Yeah, I
Because
remember.
if I get you cologne, you're not necessarily going to like that. You might like it, but
Well, if you ask me what cologne I like,
Yeah.
Okay, but if you get something that's woodsy, and I'm not a woodsy guy,
Yeah,
and I like
it would be
maybe
like,
fruity or flowery
you
stuff.
wouldn't even be excited.
Yeah, you know what? And I probably wouldn't wear it, and I'd only wear it on the times that you and I are going out together, because
Yeah.
I know that's your favorite.
Yeah.
But yeah,
You want to try to be thoughtful in your gift giving.
Yes, you want to be thoughtful in your gift giving. Well, we have just been given the sign that we have to wrap up the show for the day.
Thanks for listening
It's
to
been
the Talk
awesome
About
being
Love.
with you and sharing our thoughts. And I apologize in advance. I should have said that at first, if we offended anyone with the content on the sex, but it is something that is real. It's something that everyone in a relationship does go through. So our goal is to be as real as possible and share real life experiences from each other, and also from those who write in and share their thoughts.
And we want the best for everybody.
Oh, we always do.
It's like we want the best for all parties concerned. That is my goal.
Right.
And, whether it's you, me, you're free. Because honestly, teenagers should watch this. It's
Okay.
very healthy. It's very neat concepts and ideas that are way different than how we operate today in our society.
Right.
It's
So,
interesting stuff.
so in closing, I'd like to put a shout out to our director Maria. When she first started, and when I first came on board, we were up to 80,000 viewers for all of the social media shows
Right.
under her umbrella.
That's fabulous.
We just reached 500,000 viewers, and that is an awesome
Big,
feat.
big,
So
big.
we're real excited about the future and what the future holds, and I'm looking forward to it with bated breath.
Yes.
So wherever you are, know that God is with you, and God is the source of your supply. So in ending, we always say, I need you.
No, I pray for you.
I pray for you.
You pray for me.
You pray for me.
And we're all a part of a big family.
All a part of a great family, or all a part of God's family.
God's family. And let there be peace peace on earth.
Let that peace begin with me.
Amen.
Amen.
Thanks for watching Gregarious Joy.
Remember, it only takes 40,000. Let that peace begin with me. We can start a movement.
Oh, you mean the 10%?
The 10%.
Woo! 10%.
10%.
Right?
Yes.
Values.
Values.
The light has to cover the dark, guys.
Right.
All right. Yep, we'll tell you more about the Barry Long's, his second tape, the Making Love 2, after you've watched it a while. You can comment, and I'll share more about it the next time we're together.
Okay.
All right.
Peace and blessings.
Peace and blessings. Amen. Bye.